Hi, I'm the history guy. I have a degree in history and I love history. And if you love history too, this is the channel for you. You are most likely familiar with the 5 branches of the United States Armed Forces: the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard. And while most Americans know that we have those 5 armed services, many Americans don't seem to know that there are in fact 7 uniformed services. And those other 2 services, the United States Public Health Service Commission Corps and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Commission Corps, while they have much smaller and more narrowly defined roles, play vital services to the United States, even though most Americans don't even seem to know that they exist. And not only that, but they both have rich histories of contributing to the nation. And so today we are going to talk about the smallest of the U.S. uniformed services, one with a rich history, the oldest scientific agency in America, the agency that is today known as the NOAA Corps. The history of the NOAA Corps goes all the way back to 1807 in the administration of Thomas Jefferson, when Congress created by an act of Congress the United States Survey of the Coast. The reason that America's first scientific agency was created was to increase trade in the United States by using scientific methods to map the nation's coastlines and waterways and make them safe for navigation, or as it would later be described, the quest to create the perfect map. From the start, the survey included serving U.S. Navy and Army officers because there was a belief that the functions of the survey would be vital in time of war. Those serving officers were predecessors of the NOAA Commissioned Corps. In 1871, the responsibilities of the survey were expanded to include the geodetic study of the interior of the United States, and so the name was changed to the U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey. There was a problem in that scientists of the survey who were not serving in the military but were in time of war serving were not in uniform, and had they been captured, they could be shot as spies. And so in 1917, Congress made them all commissioned officers and made them part of the U.S. uniformed services. In 1959, the responsibilities of the survey were expanded again to include all oceanographic research across the world. In 1965, the Environmental Sciences Service Administration, or ESSA, was created. The Corps was removed from the responsibility of the survey and placed directly under ESSA. It was called the ESSA Corps, and it would provide the officers who would man the ships and planes of the U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey. Then in 1970, when ESSA's role was expanded to become the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Corps got its final name, the NOAA Commissioned Corps. In its time, the survey was responsible for so many massive scientific discoveries and new technologies that it would be impossible to try to list them all here. But it made major advances not just in cartography, but in fields like astronomy, hydrology, geophysics, and meteorology. Among its many important discoveries and inventions, in 1834, the survey discovered the Gedney Channel at the mouth of New York Harbor, which significantly reduced sailing times to and from New York City. In 1838, they developed the system of standardizing the marking of buoys at a harbor, which is called read, write, return. That system is still in use today. In 1845, the survey engaged in the world's first systematic oceanographic project for studying a specific phenomena, studying the Gulf Stream and its environs. In the 1920s, the survey developed radioacoustic ranging, the first navigational system in history that did not rely on visual means for positioning. In 1955, the survey's use of a magnetometer identified magnetic striping on the ocean floor, which helped develop the theory of plate tectonics. Since 1867, the survey has published its scientific discoveries and important navigational information in its regular publication, the United States Coastal Pilot. From the very start, it was recognized that the functions of the survey might be vital in time of war, and one of the reasons the survey was created was to maintain a corps of professionals who could easily assimilate into the military in time of war. In all major war, members of the survey had been right with the combat troops in the front, sometimes even in front of those combat troops. At times, the survey has played direct combat roles. For example, in the Civil War, they helped to direct coastal bombardment ships. In many wars, they've played lots and lots of functions like artillery orienteering officers, or mine-laying officers, troop transport navigators, intelligence officers, amphibious engineers, or the beach masters who direct embarkation, and instructors in technical schools. They played a part in critical functions of the Cold War, for example, developing early warning systems and monitoring nuclear tests. Of course, one of the most important functions of the survey in time of war is to provide maps, which are very valuable in combat. For example, their knowledge of the coast very much aided in blockading the Confederacy in the Civil War. And to give you an idea how much they can do, during the Second World War, the U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey produced an astounding 100 million maps and charts for the use of the United States and its allies. Members of the Corps face all of the risks of combat, and members have died in every major war. In addition, they face the risks of ocean navigation. The greatest loss of life in the history of the Corps occurred in 1860, when a collision at sea sunk the Coast Survey steamer Robert J. Walker with a loss of 20 hands. Today, the NOAA Officer Corps consists of 379 officers operating 16 ships and 10 aircraft. There are no enlisted or warrant officer ranks. The NOAA Corps is under the Department of Commerce. They operate NOAA ships and aircraft, manage research programs, conduct diving operations, and serve in administrative roles not just in NOAA, but throughout the Department of Defense and in NASA. One of the more spectacular roles includes the famous NOAA Hurricane Hunters, flying their sturdy P-3 Orion aircraft into the heart of the world's most violent storms to help weather forecasters and to gather scientific data. Since 1917, the Corps has been uniformed non-combatants. Today, they wore the dress uniform of the United States Navy and the operational dress of the United States Coast Guard, but with NOAA insignia. In their 211-year history, the officers of the United States Survey of the Coast, in their quest to create the perfect map, have redefined our understanding of the world, and in doing so, they have redefined our world view. In times of peace and in war, they have risked all in the name of scientific discovery, and they are still today on the front lines of scientific discovery, discoveries that make our world a safer place. And so there is every reason that we should every day remember and admire the outsized contribution of the nation's smallest uniformed service. I'm the History Guy. I hope you enjoyed this edition of my series, 5 Minutes of History, short snippets of forgotten history, 5 to 10 minutes long. If you did enjoy it, then please go ahead and click that thumbs up button that's there on your left. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to write them in the comment section and I will be happy to respond. And if you'd like 5 minutes more of forgotten history, all you need to do is click the subscribe button that's there on your right.